From collecting thousands of emails online, selling thousands of products online, and helping my clients to make deals in the 5 figures, here's one of my biggest business learnings of all time. You need to give up small, quick reward opportunities for bigger down the line opportunities. And here is 5 ways on how to achieve that. So first of all, you need to practice patience. I know that sounds extremely simple and like common sense, but the thing is it isn't, because I see people making this mistake all the time. People that I consult, businesses that I consult, I've made this mistake many times. And the thing is, when you are invested in something and when you have momentum going, time flies and time moves very fast. And because of that, you get the feeling of being patient, while in reality, if you would watch the clock, you're not patient, because time is still moving like time moves, but your feeling of time is way different because you're dialed in, you are in the zone, and you're doing all the work to get there. Tip number 2 is you need to invest in your own skills. My highest ROI investment of all time was probably investing in my own skills, because that will give you leverage, that will let you compound time, and that will give you access to better opportunities because you can attract better opportunities. Let me give you a tangible example. If you can write better copy for your product page or on your website, on your sales copy, then you can attract a better client, a better buyer, or you can have a higher conversion rate. And all of these things will lead to you making more money. Here's another one, and especially in the beginning, this is a very hard thing to do. You kind of need to save resources, but you also shouldn't shy away from making investments. Whenever you can leverage your money to make more money or to compound time, then you should do it if you can afford it. But you should not over leverage yourself to a point where you don't have enough cash flow to sustain your business. And I know this sounds logical, but the thing is, this is, especially in the beginning, a very hard thing to do because you don't know what's coming around the corner. So you may plan, I'm going to allocate this amount of money per month into my accounting and so on and so forth. But then a sudden expense comes around the corner, and that will derail all of your plans. And now you cannot pay your software stack anymore. And because you cannot do that anymore, you cannot make business anymore, right? And this is how fast you can get derailed if you don't practice this skill religiously. Especially, as I said in the beginning, when you don't have that amount of excess cash flow, then you have to be really cautious on where to spend your money. Point number 4 is you need to delay gratification. So this is a very interesting one, because I know you want to get there, you want to make money as fast as possible. I understand it, I've been there, I've done that. The thing is, everything will take time. It doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how fast you will get in delivering your promise, in delivering your service, in creating a new product. The thing is, things will just take time. You cannot get around that. It's by nature. Think about it like a seed. If you plant a seed for a tree or for a paprika plant, right? The thing doesn't come out of the ground right away. You need to plant the seed, then you need to water the seed, then it needs sun, and then the plant will grow little by little, and then you will eventually collect all of the fruits that will grow on this plant. It's exactly the same in business. You need to put in the work, but then also you need to put in the time that it takes for them to create your new reality. Point number 5 is you need to stay focused. And again, this might sound obvious, but I've seen this mistake made too many times to ignore it. I personally made this mistake many times, and we cannot even call this a mistake because it's not a mistake. It is just a change in perception once you get better, right? Because here's what I mean. I used to think that I was focused 4 years ago, but looking back at it now, I wasn't, right? Because all of my skills, all of my focusing skills kept expanding so much that from my current point of view, I wasn't focused at all when looking at me back in the day. And this is where it gets tricky, right? Because you don't ever really know if you're good at it because you can only observe it from your current point of view. So here's an actionable step that you can take to better your focus. You need to extend the amount of time that you can spend on a certain task without getting bored, because this is actually the game changer. Once I was able to spend 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 8 hours on a single task without even doing a break, and more on that in just a second, my focus skyrocketed. And at that point, I really understood what it means to be able to focus. And from that point of view, I can honestly say that most people that think they can focus, they can actually not focus. Not in comparison to being able to do the same thing for 8 hours straight without doing a break, without checking your phone, without checking YouTube, without doing anything besides that thing. Here's a bonus point in close correlation to being able to focus. You also need to practice the pause. This is something I kind of unlearned in the process of being able how to focus, because once I achieved this laser-like focus where I could just spend 8 hours on a single task and drive the thing home, I've actually, for one business, we created a tripwire, and I've done the whole tripwire. It was basically a book. We wrote an ebook, and I did all the writing, I did all the copywriting for that, and it took me about 3 days to write the whole book. This is like insane level of focus. For most people, it would take them weeks, maybe even months, and a lot of people would never get it done. So that is what I mean by laser level focus. But here's the thing, in the process of learning how to focus like that, I kind of unlearned on how to practice the pause. But then I wrote a book about practicing the pause, and it changed my whole perception on the topic of productivity. After reading that book, I implemented pauses, because all of a sudden I had the ability to focus for very, very extended periods of time. But I could also regain mental clarity and mental energy by doing frequent breaks in between. And that is when my progress skyrocketed. Guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a thumbs up, leave me your comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, rock and roll.